And so, the mermaids decided to give Amari a special sea gift. He could breathe underwater and talk to sea animals. "Now, you belong to the sea and the land," Asha told Amari gently. Amari laughed, happy and curious. Once upon a time, in a peaceful African village called Say, where people lived happily with nature and had a wise king, everything changed due to greed and betrayal. Some jealous nobles were not fond of the king because he was very loved, and they wanted his power for themselves. One night, these malicious nobles met secretly and plotted to kill the king and seize the throne for themselves. They aimed to eliminate the king and his family swiftly, so no one could stop them. So the very next night, they attacked the king in his room. The king, shocked, could only utter "why" before he died, not understanding why they would commit such a heinous act. A servant who was hidden by the window saw them and quickly ran to the queen to warn her. Without wasting any time, the queen immediately fled into the night with her baby son, Amari. She whispered to him to keep him calm and quiet as they ran into the bush. By morning, she had traveled far into the forest and reached a riverside where she decided to rest. However, she heard people searching for her. Guards sent by the new leaders were approaching, so she faced a tough decision. She quickly crafted a raft out of river reeds, trembling as she worked, and placed Amari on it, along with a golden emblem that signified his true right to the throne. Whispering to Amari that he would one day return to rightfully rule Say, she tearfully sent him off on the river, hoping their ancestors would protect him. The river took baby Amari away. With her baby safely carried away by the river, the queen ran further into the bush, but the guards later found her and took her into custody. The river took baby Amari to a secret place by the sea where mermaids live. When the mermaids saw Amari on the raft, they were surprised and curious. Asha, the oldest mermaid, picked up Amari carefully. "Who sent a child to the sea?" Asha asked, her voice sounding like the ocean. "Maybe the sea chose him," said Nia, another mermaid, looking at the emblem next to Amari. They knew it was important and saw that Amari's future was connected to both their world and the land. And so, the mermaids decided to give Amari a special sea gift. He could breathe underwater and talk to sea animals. "Now, you belong to the sea and the land," Asha told Amari gently. Amari laughed, happy and curious. Back in Say, the nobles who took over Say announced they had won. But they led with fear and made everyone's lives worse. They were harsh rulers, and the people of Say started to suffer. They threw the queen in jail and ruled with fear and made life hard for everyone. Meanwhile, in the ocean, as Amari grew up under the care of the mermaids, he mastered the secrets of the ocean. He swam as swiftly as dolphins, engaged in deep conversations with wise, ancient turtles, and weaved through coral reefs that sparkled like diamonds under the moonlit waters. Amari's curiosity about life beyond the sea grew more and more. He often went close to the shore, hiding behind trees. He observed humans as they came to the river to gather water or launder their garments. One day, his gaze fell upon a particularly striking young woman named Zuri, who had come to wash her clothes by the riverbank. Amari was instantly enchanted by her beauty and the melodious sound of her voice, which seemed to him the sweetest melody he had ever heard. From that moment, Amari found himself drawn to that secluded spot, day after day, just to catch a glimpse of Zuri as she sang and went about her chores. Her presence ignited a new kind of fascination in him, one that tied him to the land with an intensity that mirrored his connection to the sea. Asha, who had always been like a mother to Amari, began to notice a change in him. His behavior hinted at something deeper, something akin to love. He often wore a smile for no apparent reason. His mood had significantly improved, and he was always in a hurry to visit the riverbank every afternoon. Sensing the depth of his feelings, Asha decided it was time to have a conversation with him. "Amari, I've noticed lately that you seem different," Asha started, her voice gentle yet filled with concern. "Your heart seems elsewhere, especially in the afternoons. Is there something, or perhaps someone, on your mind?" Amari, caught off guard by her insight, hesitated for a moment before nodding. Yes, there's someone. A girl, she's human, and she goes to the riverbank to wash clothes. I can't help but feel drawn to her voice, her spirit. Asha smiled, understandingly. Amari, it's beautiful to feel such things, but you must also act on them. Why don't you talk to her, share your feelings, and let her see the wonderful person you are? Amari looked unsure but inspired by Asha's encouragement. I will, he promised. I'll talk to her tomorrow. The next day, as Amari promised himself, he would reveal his presence to Zuri. He found himself hiding behind a tree as usual, mesmerized by her singing. Just as he was gathering his courage to step forward, a huge crocodile silently emerged from the river, heading straight for Zuri with dangerous intent. Driven by instinct and without a second thought, Amari burst from his hiding spot and faced the crocodile, shouting, "Go back to the water, don't you dare attack her." The crocodile, sensing the powerful connection Amari had with the river, nodded in submission and quickly retreated into the river. Zuri was shocked to see someone she didn't know talking to her, especially after he just scared away a crocodile. "Who are you, and how did you do that?" she asked, a bit scared and very surprised. "My name is Amari," he answered, moving closer, but making sure not to scare her. "I've been watching you from a distance. Your voice and your spirit caught my attention. I couldn't let you get hurt." Zuri, still processing the sight of the crocodile being commanded by this stranger, looked into Amari's eyes, seeing sincerity and a certain kindness that eased her initial shock. "You've been watching me? Why didn't you come forward before?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "I was afraid," Amari admitted. "Afraid you'd reject me because I'm different. I'm not just human. I was raised by mermaids. But today, seeing you in danger, I realized I couldn't stay hidden anymore. I care about you." Zuri listened, her initial astonishment giving way to fascination. "Raised by mermaids? That's incredible. And you care about me?" "Yes, more than I've ever known," Amari confessed. "I understand if this all seems strange to you, but I had to tell you, had to protect you." Zuri smiled, a sense of wonder and warmth spreading through her. "I don't think it's strange at all. It's extraordinary, and I'm grateful you were here today. I'd like to know more about you, Amari." And so, standing by the riverbank where their paths had so dramatically intersected, Amari and Zuri began to talk, their conversation the start of an unexpected yet profound connection. Every day, Amari and Zuri met by the river and spent hours talking. One evening, Zuri shared stories about her homeland, Se, describing the dire conditions there since the true king and his family were killed. She spoke of famine, hunger, and the tyrannical rule that oppressed the people. Anyone who dared to oppose the king faced imprisonment. Amari listened intently, feeling a strong desire to help, but unsure of how he could make a difference. That evening, Amari returned home and recounted everything Zuri had told him about Se and its people suffering to Asha. It was then Asha revealed something crucial. "Amari," she said, "when we found you, you were with the emblem of the king of Se. This means you are the rightful heir to the throne. Everything that has happened was to prepare you for this moment, to reclaim your throne and free your people. We fully support you in this." Hearing these words, Amari thanked Asha, who had been a wonderful mother to him, and announced to the other mermaids his decision to leave at dawn to pursue his destiny. "I love you all and will miss you, but you will always be my family," he said, tears in his eyes as he bid them farewell. That afternoon, he shared everything with Zuri, revealing his true heritage and the responsibility that lay before him. Zuri was surprised but also filled with joy. "I will stand by you," she declared. "I will fight with you. You have the strength and courage of both your father and the ancient magic of the mermaids behind you. We have many fighters already meeting in secret, ready to support your cause. I will introduce you to them." Zuri's words filled Amari with hope and determination. Together, they began to plan how they would unite these secret fighters and lead a movement to restore the rightful rule to Say. With Zuri by his side and the support of his newfound allies, Amari felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead, bolstered by the love of his mermaid family and the courage instilled in him by his heritage. Amari, with Zuri by his side, inspired the people of Say. They rallied around the emblem he carried, a symbol of hope and rightful leadership, dreaming of freedom and justice. When the decisive day arrived, Amari and the rebels confronted the usurpers at the palace, determined to reclaim their land. Armed with courage and the wisdom of the sea, Amari led the charge, his followers like a relentless wave. The battle was intense. Despite Amari's bravery, the enemy's numbers were overwhelming and he was captured, facing execution as a grim example to discourage his supporters. As the executioner raised his sword, Amari called out to the sea with a powerful cry that resonated across the land and reached the depths of the ocean. Dark clouds gathered, unleashing a torrential rain that signaled the arrival of the mermaid's magic. Empowered by the magical rain, Amari broke free, his strength unmatched, his blows sending enemies flying. The tide of battle turned as his mermaid family and sea creatures joined the fray, their presence bolstered by the rain that allowed them to move freely on land. The mermaids' songs kept the storm raging, ensuring their terrestrial allies' advantage. The usurpers stood no chance against this united front. Amari and his allies triumphed, marking the beginning of a new era for Say. After the victory, Amari wanted to find his mother, who had been imprisoned by the usurpers but was still alive. When he finally found her, carrying the king's emblem, she recognized him immediately. With tears streaming down her face, she embraced her son, saying, "I knew it. I knew our ancestors would keep you safe to come and reclaim your throne." Following this emotional reunion, Amari was crowned king, with Zuri by his side as queen. Their rule was marked by wisdom, kindness, and a strong connection to both the land and the sea. The mermaids, now honored allies, had their cove recognized as a sacred place where the two worlds of land and sea met in unity and understanding. The story of Amari, the prince raised by mermaids, teaches us that courage and compassion can overcome the greatest of adversities. It shows that our differences are not barriers, but bridges that can connect us in unexpected and powerful ways.